Welcome back to another episode of the ECOMsquare Overshare. And today I am super happy to be joined by the president of Ship Apollo. His name is Justin Rosete. And before we even get started, I just want to note that Justin is going to be coming into ECOMsquare for a panel discussion and Q&A on logistics with a couple of other expert panelists. That's going to be on Thursday, March the 2nd at ECOMsquare. The link for tickets will be in the show description down below, or wherever you're seeing this, you'll see a link for tickets. So if you want to meet Justin in person, maybe get your specific questions on logistics answered, that's the place to do it. But for now, we'll get it. We'll have a little chat and learn a little bit about logistics before that. So thanks, Justin, for coming, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Is it March 2nd? Gosh, I should put that on my calendar.
Put that in the calendar, yeah. In a couple of weeks. It'll be a couple of weeks for when people see this. So like I said, you're the president of Ship Apollo, which is a logistics company. And I want to start with basically, how did that start? What was sort of the spark that led you to create that company?
Yeah, long story short, we kind of got our start in ecom back in 2013, and we were shipping orders out of a warehouse in Scarborough in Ontario just on our own. And just over the years, we learned, we're like, okay, well, in order for us to build the business that we were working on at the time, we had to outsource our shipping. So we started to hop between a few different 3PLs in Ontario, and then we branched out into a couple places like in the US, Australia, UK. Basically, from that entire experience, we eventually decided to bring everything back in-house. And from learning the lessons that we did while working with other 3PLs, we thought, hey, we could probably do this much better, more efficient, more economical. And that was the direction we took. And that was back in 2017. We started shipping our own products, and then we started shipping our friends' brands' products, and it kind of just snowballed from there. So in 2019, we took things a bit more serious. We incorporated the business. We brought on another partner in the business, and we essentially decided to see where we can take it. And over these past 3 years, it's been just an opportunity of constant learning and meeting and working with like-minded entrepreneurs, and helping their brands, helping to solve a lot of the issues that these brands were facing as they were in similar shoes that we were in years past. And that kind of brings us to present day, where we are now. We have a warehouse in Vancouver and in Toronto being our original location and hub. And yeah, we're just constantly, we're just a bunch of tinkerers. We're always looking to kind of expand our services, but also improve them. And it's been a great kind of journey I guess also in self-discovery and in terms of just learning how a logistics business can really help to teach you to lead better. With a 3PL, you are employing many people to help with a common goal, and that's to make sure that we're providing the best service to our customers, and making sure that their packages are getting to our clients' customers in a timely manner, and one in which it kind of checks all the boxes. So it's been kind of a great opportunity for us to just to be leaders in this type of setting, and to just kind of explore and do really fun things. We're starting to go to conferences and learn more. We're constantly learning. I mean, I feel like we're kind of like the new kids on the block.
Yeah, still a baby, relatively
Young,
speaking, right?
yeah, for sure. Just like a scrappy upstart. And
Interesting. So I definitely want to talk about sort of what you guys are doing today. But before we do that, I'm curious, like, what was it that when you were like, before you started Ship Apollo, you had your own e-commerce business. So what was it that made you first seek out a 3PL in the first place when you started working with all these other 3PLs? Do you remember sort of like why did you do that at the time?
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, time was the big factor. We knew at the time that for us to focus our attention more on building the business, we had to not divert our attention, so much of our attention towards just shipping our product. And that was like I would say the biggest reason. And it wasn't really one that just kind of, I don't think there was ever a point where we're like, it's now's the right time. It was just in slowly seeing that, okay, if we have a business here, we have something that's worth undertaking. And instead of, focusing solely on servicing the customers that come to us, let's take it a step further and start to seek out customers. So that really gave us a lot of time, gave us time back to be able to explore that more. And this was at a time too where I feel like I've repeated my time like 1,000 times. This is a time when Instagram influencer marketing was blowing up, and so we on Instagram, but then also on Facebook, and targeted pixel tracking and all that. That was it was just a really ripe opportunity for us to market the business. And that really helped propel the company to a greater stage. And that is then when we were able to warehouse our product in different parts of the world, which was then an entirely different problem, in that we were manufacturing our product overseas, and we were now responsible for managing stock across 4 different locations around the world. So that presented its challenges, but also gave us an opportunity to learn about global logistics and freight forwarding. And again, was, we were just at the time just building our toolkit for what would become a lot of the strengths that Ship Apollo offers to its customers today.
Yeah.
So I think we were very grateful for that opportunity that we had, in that we had a product that's still patented at the USPTO, and we're just really grateful we had that opportunity, because it opened up a lot of doors for us.
What kind of tasks were you able to like take off your plate by engaging with a 3PL?
We weren't having to sit at a computer and fix addresses, print labels, allocate the stock for those labels, adjusting inventory. building boxes, packing, you know, packing those boxes. Yeah, and it was a lot of just the labor involved with having to get your product out the doors. That was really where it was a juggling act. You know, we were having to do that as well as manage all the other components. So yeah, that's essentially what we were handing off to the 3PL.
Interesting, right? The things that can be sort of done by anyone, no one can speak for you the same way you can speak for yourself in terms of marketing, but anyone can pack your box. So it makes sense to outsource that so you can focus on things that only you can do, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was also one of the things that we had discovered through working with the 3PLs was just the limit on how your product was being shipped. You know, when we had things in hand, there was always that control of how the customer was going to receive the product. And in making that shift to a 3PL, at the time, there wasn't that flexibility. There wasn't the control that I believe at the like that we wanted to be able to deliver an experience for our customers. So that again, like kind of again, just building our toolkit, just little things that we found was a hindrance at the time in using a 3PL that we wanted to solve and when we started Ship Apollo.
Okay, was that the main reason that you brought the logistics back in house, where it was just the control of sort of that unboxing experience, or was there any other reasons that you brought it back after having gone up? Just that?
Yeah, there was a couple of reasons. That was one of the reasons, but as well we, you know, as ecom was really taking off, there were and we were also discovering ways that we can ship economically from Canada to different parts of the world without having to warehouse that product and ship the product across different places. So you know, when we had that to our disposal, and you'd be amazed at just how affordable it can be for someone to ship a product to Australia from Canada. That it did the added cost of shipping it, but then having it in-house, so we had control over that process, then became more important than us multi-warehousing. So we kind of closed up shop at the different 3PLs, brought everything back to Toronto, and yeah.
Interesting. I'm a marketer, right? Digital marketer. That's my background. So I've heard it said that the unboxing is the only 100% open rate experience you'll have with your customer. So I think and I think that, you know, it's very true. You notice the difference. That the one company that comes to mind is Clearly Contacts. Clearly makes a huge effort with their unboxing. So when you open it up, there's like little treats, little cards, offers, you know, all this stuff. And the first time I got it, it made a difference. You know, it's not, people aren't cold to that kind of thing where, especially with e-commerce, people are very used to e-commerce now. So I think a lot of companies, they can go on websites. A lot of the websites look similar. A lot of the experiences are similar. And that unboxing place is one place where, you know, brands can really differentiate themselves. So yeah, makes sense.
Absolutely. And some brands are incredibly creative with that experience. So it's been really neat to work hand in hand with some of these brands and to get to understand what they're trying to deliver and why that is. And then of course with us being the hands that put that together, you know, we're responsible at the end of the day on whether or not that 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 experience is delivered on.
Right. Yeah. And I think, like to plug Ship Apollo, I guess, real quick, is that I do think that as an e-commerce owner, I would be encouraged to know that you are also an e-commerce owner, and that's where it started, and you do understand sort of the unique
Mhm.
aspects of e-commerce, which is great to have, obviously, to have as many people as possible that you're working with understand your business and how important things like, an unboxing experience is to an e-commerce business. Um,
Yeah.
and speaking of, being e-commerce specific, Ship Apollo
Mhm.
is, sort of D2C, direct to consumer e-commerce specific in the way that you talk about yourselves. And I was wondering, what is it about you that makes you D2C specific compared to other 3PLs that might be out there?
So we kind of took a more specialized approach to things when we first started Ship Apollo. In onboarding our customers, were we knew that we had a hand in or a role in their business and how this would all play out. And so we wanted to differentiate ourselves through a couple of things. One of them, which we just spoke to, which was that packaging and unboxing experience. So in understanding what the company's needs were,
Mm-hmm.
and developing SOPs, so our team knows exactly how those products, how those parcels or packages go out.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big thing.
So what might be
Um,
involved there? Like, what are we talking about in terms of what
mhm.
you might be able to do for someone for that unboxing experience?
Well, typically we might have a slight, like a little bit of say, because we're familiar with ways in which you can pack product, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
a brand will come with us seeking advice, uh, whereas some other brands might already have a fully fleshed out uh, idea,
Mm-hmm.
and one that's, they're providing us with everything, and it's essentially just a checklist to make sure that everything is done to accurately.
Mm-hmm.
And accuracy, of course, is key in our industry. You'll come across it with every 3PL that makes their pitch, is their accuracy of product, of fulfillment, and
Mm-hmm.
keeping any errors down, error rates down. So um, we we definitely try in terms of like taking a specialized approach. We work with the brands to develop it,
Mm-hmm.
if it so requires. So that might include us making suggestions on the best packaging for their product, to meet certain guidelines, and those guidelines can be aimed towards product protection, to ensure that it's not being damaged while in transit, or it can be entirely a curated experience where it's one that is, like you mentioned, with Clearly Contacts. It's the inserts and the offers and all the little marketing touch points that make a difference for a company who is looking for lifetime, a customer with a high lifetime value, not just a one-time purchaser.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say every brand and every business has different needs. So there's never any one shoe fits all approach,
Mm-hmm.
which also makes it quite fun, in that we work with the brands to try and figure that out with them.
Mm-hmm. Is
Yeah.
that not so typical with like if say you're using like a DHL or fulfillment by Amazon? Are they offering sort of one size fits all solutions and you just go with what they have?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
FBA being a big one, fulfillment by Amazon. As a merchant, I would have no input really on how my product's getting to my customer. And I see this with brands who preach sustainability but are selling on Amazon, and Amazon has definitely made great advances in more recent years to focus their attention on sustainable packaging. But yeah, they still, at the end of the day, that me as a merchant don't have the last say in how and what box size and what filler type my product is getting to my customer in. So I might be selling a sustainable product, but then it has a air pillow,
Yeah. It's the dirty secret of many sustainable brands. And sometimes I always appreciate it when I've seen a couple that do call it out, where they sort of say, we want to be sustainable, our product is sustainable, our shipping is not, like, here's our path to being sustainable. But yeah, 100% agree.
We spoke a couple weeks ago, and I kind of I made this note that it was I think a really interesting place for the industry to focus their attention, and that's a consumer might have more influence than I think they may think. And it would be really great for businesses like my own to evaluate the impact we have on that final mile delivery, right? Sorry, it isn't final mile delivery, but you could kind of catch my drift, which is, once it's leaving the warehouse and it's being how it's being shipped, and that what that carbon footprint looks like, which I think is a really fascinating place to begin to research and develop spend some time in.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I derailed us with sustainability a bit, but back to the back to how Ship Apollo is serving e-commerce specifically. We talked a little bit about packaging. Is there anything else that is sort of specific to e-commerce that you've incorporated into how you do business?
Yeah. Once we're familiar with a client's products, we might make suggestions on ways in which products can be bundled or kitted, and how those can be upsold through those e-com channels. Providing like detailed reporting on to our customers, so they know simple things, like it could be stale inventory reports, which is really, like, for every business, dead stock is a real thing, and trying to be proactive versus reactive is a great way to prevent that sort of thing from happening. So it's the little things like that we try and add a little edge to what we do, and in providing an account manager that works with our clients to help facilitate those changes.
Interesting. So yeah, it's like you're not like a passive provider of a service, is what it sounds like. Like you are engaged with the aspects of the business that you're touching. Is there any other parts that are sort of D2C specific about Ship Apollo?
We're considering like Amazon FBM, fulfillment by merchant. That's also a big driver of our business. And in Ship Apollo, offering Amazon prep services, and seller central management. So if those of you who may or may not be familiar, FBA, fulfillment by Amazon, versus FBM, fulfillment by merchant, you or a 3PL is gathering those orders through Amazon and shipping it versus warehousing your product with Amazon. Amazon takes a percentage of sales for customer service, for the fulfillment, and that would be another part in which we are we specialize in D2C.
I am curious, like you spoke a lot about forecasting for the future, right? And being proactive was the word. So, unforeseen disasters aside, how can you be proactive? What kind of things are you looking at in terms of stock in a normal world of how much you're warehousing? What are the ways that you can be proactive? What kind of things are you looking at there?
Yeah, just your sell-through rate, that's a simple thing. Most businesses are familiar with their sell-through rates anyways, and knowing when product, how many days until things will be out of stock. That would definitely be one of the big things, as well. Most brands are familiar with their best sellers, and typically that sort of stuff doesn't change. Even after you might introduce, and every business is different, and some are more like cyclical. That the new product is the one that's going to sell the most. But a lot of, I think, the companies that we work with, and where they are being, small, medium, and not enterprise, they are generally working with a handful of SKUs that drive their business. And so I think if you have a good handle on what you need, what's required to keep those moving, then your business will be positioned well for success.
Cool. Okay, so then I'm curious in general. So when people come to you, right, and we already established, right, that they're coming to you, they're going to get a huge amount of their time back as business owners to work on other things.
Yeah.
Are there any other sort of common inefficiencies that are solved by working with a 3PL like yourselves? So like I'm thinking, in terms of like costs of shipping, is that something that you guys can help with?
Yes, that's a great point. With any 3PL you go to, you're able to leverage the volume of that 3PL to be able to have discounted rates on shipping. It's 9 times out of 10, you're going to be paying less for shipping to work with a 3PL than you would be creating your own carrier accounts and shipping directly on your own. So it's a great value add for any merchant looking to work with 3PL. No, it's a great point. Sorry, I didn't even think about that.
No, that's true. It's 100%. And also, the nice thing about that as well for a merchant is that is something that then trickles down to your customer. So like that really helps your brand. Like that has a really compounding effect, right? So because like your customer doesn't care if you have more time, that doesn't change their life. But if you can give them free shipping and that's sustainable for your business, then obviously that's great for them. So yeah, another good reason, I guess, to come with you guys. Yeah, interesting. And then so I want to go way back. So you talked a little bit about you're helping out your clients with a bit like recommending how they might be able to bundle products. Is that the way that you find that information and then recommend it? Is that strictly sort of a marketing perspective where you're sort of like, we ship a lot of these two things and maybe you could bundle them together? Or is there like a logistical aspect to your recommendations there ever where it's sort of like these two would ship well together that they might not even realize?
Definitely be more so the former than the latter. It would be more so directed towards like what could work well together in terms of products. But generally speaking, although we make those types of recommendations, the brands that we do work with are already quite adept when it comes to their product and ways to sell their product. Because again, like that is where the time that they have, they're directing their efforts.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wouldn't say that's a huge insight.
Yeah, that's why I was curious about the
And
logistical part. Because like as a marketer, I would know what sells together, when what people buy first and then second, etc. But I would never even consider like, I could
mhm,
sell product A with product B or A with C, and it's pretty close. But
mhm.
like A and B will go, it'll cost me however much less to ship. So there's like an extra reason, logistically speaking, to bundle those.
Yeah, and then not typically it's more, us uh helping the companies that we do work with and understanding what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So they may not be familiar with that process coming into it. That's
Mm-hmm.
where we might provide those types of insights. And again, like I mentioned before, it's just the relationships that we foster with the brands we work with. It is a reciprocal relationship. It's symbiotic, and one that we work to try and help the brand, and the brand looks to help us. So we're getting feedback. If maybe how we packaged it was didn't arrive the way that the customer liked it, then we make adjustments. And it's that level of agility that has allowed us to stay competitive and to provide a specialized. When we first started it, we were calling it boutique, but now we just kind of, I think boutique has like a just a connotation to it, so we just like a specialized way. But yeah, no, that's like it's a really important relationship with the brands that we look to create. And ideally our success is rooted in the success of the brands, right? So we try as much as possible to keep our ears open to new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah.
Cool. So, what are there? Is there anything sort of exciting in the logistical future? Is there anything that you sort of see as a big opportunity for yourselves, or maybe logistics in general?
Yeah, it seems like there's always something new and
Yeah.
flashy, right?
100%. I just
It
had a conversation about marketing, and we were talking about how it was like a month ago, it was every post on LinkedIn was, what's your NFT strategy? And now those have all been replaced with, how are you using Chat GPT? And like, I'm sure there'll be something else next month. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, these things happen, right? And they happen all that more quickly as new technologies are introduced. So at the end of the day, what we do is not rocket science. Um, we're very grounded in knowing that, and making sure that the things that we do well, we're doing it, that we continue to do it well. So at least what I've found so far in our industry is there's definitely a lot of attention towards, uh, you know, on the tech side, um, of mitigating error, um, improving efficiency with automation and robotics. There's all sorts of different types of things that we come across. And I think for the uh, it's important not to get distracted by it,
Mm-hmm.
and to think that any one of these things are the end all be all that will answer all of your problems. At the end of the day, like building just a business that's dependable and reliable, that the merchants that the brands that we work with can depend on, is equally as important, or the most important thing to us, than what the next shiny, flashy piece of tech that comes along, that can. Yeah, so I think we're often in a position where we don't want to just put our blinders up. We don't want to become complacent. That's often when a business can find themselves in trouble. And yeah, we still do definitely look at those opportunities and see ways in which we can improve our business. That of course is important. Not denying that, but I'm very curious to see what we do next, in either improving our customers' experience, or even our experience for our staff, and then what we do, which is logistics. So
yeah, doubling down on what you do well has never been a bad strategy, has it? In most aspects, focusing on what you do well and doing it better and better, as opposed to the shiny thing.
Yeah, and this is speaking specific to our business being a 3PL, but it's a low margin business, right? High volume, low margin. So a second here, a second there, keeping track of these metrics plays a huge difference in our bottom line, and being able to provide a better service to our clients. So yeah, no, that is where I think a lot of the technology is rooted is in kind of making things more efficient, and to as well improving the wellness of warehouse employees. We're being able to lift a box every day can lead to repetitive stress, injuries, and those types of things are also important to us. So like every morning our teams gathering together, having a team stretch, kind of going through like on our dailies, speaking to the things that each person's going to work towards. Little things like this, that don't cost a penny, it's those simple things can really help. So
no, that's really nice to hear, like especially when you compare it with the sort of the horror stories of the Amazon warehouse, the dystopian sort of nightmare that you hear about. So yeah, kudos. Good. That's that's cool. That's awesome. That's something that you focus on as well. So my last question for you is a very practical one. So if someone was shipping on their own and then they came and engaged with Ship Apollo to become their 3PL, what happens next? Like what does a business owner have to do to get up and running with you?
Yeah, great question. We pride ourselves in being able to onboard a client quickly and quite seamlessly. So we work with them to have them answer a set of questions, which help us and our team familiarize ourselves with their business, because like I mentioned before, there's no one else that knows their business better than the people who run it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of our first step. And second is the tech, the back end. And it's pretty amazing how quickly you're able to onboard someone just through like our WMS, like our warehouse management software.
Okay.
That it really makes the process quite painless for our customers, and it's often they're often met by surprise, just how quickly it can be done. And then of course, obviously, those first couple weeks of working with any new client is critical. That's when I would say the most pertinent conversations are happening around how the product is going out, and whether or not there's any issues, or making sure that we are familiar with the business, right? Like that's the most important thing. So I would say we pride ourselves in being able to onboard someone quite quickly, but we're never in a rush. So usually we want to make sure that we're before that transition happens, that everything is ready to go. So we have a team that works with our clients to do that. And they're amazing. They kind of make it really easy for our clients. So it's quite honestly just kind of simple.
Well, simple is good.
I would say the only place where we might try to do things a bit differently is making sure that the clients they understand how they want things to go out. So in terms of, like, I think we were talking about this before, which was the shipping rates, right? That value add. So not every business is keen on the cheapest method, but they may be more concerned about the reliability, thank you, of the carrier that they're shipping with. So sometimes that can be a process in helping the brands to know what they have at their disposal, because there are many carriers, there are many ways in which many different services in which you can ship your product to different parts of the world, which that is probably I would say the biggest place of helping to educate our customers in knowing the ways that they can ship to their customers. So it's not always as easy as just picking the cheapest method, which is also great, but every business that kind of has different priorities. So.
And then to plug in the back end, just real quick to go back to that, is it so if I had a Shopify store, is it just a matter of giving your team access to the store and that's it?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's in going through the process, it's just if you have admin privileges, it's as simple as downloading an app. If we're talking about Shopify, through going through that process through our WMS. And yeah, so it varies. They might be on WooCommerce,
BigCommerce,
BigCommerce,
yeah,
wherever they're selling, Squarespace, you know, there's so many different places that you can
Mm-hmm.
sell your product. If I'm being honest though, about 90% of the time it's Shopify.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think that's beginning to change a little bit. I'm starting to see. But yeah, again, like that, how that process works, it's usually it depends on which platform they're on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's quite an easy couple steps that we
Interesting.
take them
Good to
through.
know. Yeah. Cool. So I mean, I think we'll leave it there. We haven't gone
Mm-hmm.
too deep, but hopefully we've given everyone sort of a broad understanding of logistics in general. And certainly I think there's many reasons why an e-commerce company especially would want to work with Ship Apollo. So yeah, I just want to reiterate again that if you were dissatisfied with my line of questioning, perhaps Justin will be Justin will be in the building at ECOMsquare on March 2nd to join a panel of experts where our founder Steve will be leading a panel discussion, and the audience will have an opportunity to ask any questions that they might have. So if any questions might have bubbled up in listening to this conversation, you know, bring them to that conversation, and I'm sure you'll get some good answers from Justin and the rest of the panel. So Justin, thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate it a lot, and
Thank
I
you, Ricky.
hope you enjoyed it somewhat.
I did. Yeah, no, this was fun. Looking forward to March 2nd.
All right, cool.
Should be
All right,
fun.
thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, man. Cheers.